Now on CoastTV News.
Hundreds of people putting on their hazard lights to remember Renee Nicole Good today. Major development plans for this Sussex County land could get the green light this week.
The winds have been a problem today, reaching up to 41 miles per hour, but the cold is going to be the problem for this work week.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Nationwide ice protests today, including here in Sussex County. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. It's our top story tonight. From Lewis to Rehoboth Beach, a procession of cars moving through town with their hazard lights flashing. This in remembrance of the life of Renee Nicole Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis on Wednesday. The demonstration was organized by Indivisible Southern Delaware. Cars displaying signs as they traveled along the highway, and police were there assisting with traffic control.
Right now, I think they're coming up into towns where they're not wanted and states where they're not wanted, and there seems to be generating a lot more violence than what they're preventing.
The line of cars started about 2:30 p.m. in Lewis and ended around 5 p.m. in Rehoboth Beach. And it is not just here. Demonstrators were out across the country today. People in Philadelphia held an Ice Out for Good protest. That crowd started outside City Hall in Philly and marched several blocks to the Federal Detention Center that's nearby. We're also seeing large protests today in New York, New Orleans, Minneapolis, and more. Well, plans for a Costco, Target, and more on Route 24 will be up for discussion in Sussex County Council this week. The county officially closed the record on the massive Atlantic Fields project last week, and we are expecting a potential vote from council members on Tuesday. Also this week is Agriculture Week in Delaware. The annual event runs from January 12th until the 15th. It's at the Delaware State Fairgrounds in Harrington. It brings together farmers, industry experts, and vendors for some educational sessions, and they give updates on everything from poultry to produce. Most of the sessions are free, but some require registration. Also, the Delaware General Assembly back in session this week, and Senator Dave Lawson announced this last week that he is retiring. Lawson has represented the western Kent County area since 2010. Lawson is the third Delaware Republican to recently announce they are not seeking re-election. The others being Rich Collins in Millsboro and Charles Postles in the Milford area. Lawson's retirement does give Democrats a chance to increase their supermajority in Delaware Senate. That's if they win the seat. The legislative session begins on Tuesday. Now let's take a live look into Rehoboth Beach. No one out there on the boardwalk tonight. We're going to check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams.
You know what, Christina, the winds have been extremely active for today, and we've been clocking them, and they've been clocking us back, quite frankly. But it's the cold that's going to get the headlines, and believe it or not, I'm sorry I have to bring this to you so early, but there's a decent chance of snow in the forecast on Thursday. That being said, hey, in Dover, we're holding at 40 degrees, and you can actually see the camera shaking from the winds right now, howling at about 22 miles per hour. We're going to drop to 34 by 10 o'clock. Now, we're talking about the winds. We had a 40 mile per hour wind gust recorded in Georgetown, 41 mile per hour gust in Cambridge, and a 37 mile per hour gust recorded in Ocean City, a 40 mile per hour gust, Wallops Island. Some of the other gusts to note of, actually, as far as winds are concerned, Greenwood had a 35 mile per hour gust, a 33 in Seaford and Laurel, 31 in Jones Crossroads and Dagsboro, and a 32 mile per hour gust for us in Georgetown. And the winds right now are howling at 38 miles per hour gust for us at Indian River Inlet. So yeah, the winds are still acting up, but the cold is going to be the next one that's going to be out of line.
All right, thanks, Paul. Now some traffic news. Maryland's Department of Transportation gearing up for major intersection improvements along Route 50. This here is the intersection of 50 and Old Railroad Road in the Hebron area. Crews are planning to put up a new traffic signal there and make some safety upgrades aimed at improving traffic flow. Neighbors say it's been an issue for quite some time, and data from MDOT actually backs that up. Since 2019, there have been 54 crashes here, one of which killed someone.
I take the back roads to go home because I want to avoid these intersections at all costs because I feel like that it's not safe. So I feel like if they put a light here, that now I can use the intersection more.
MDOT says the $3.5 million project is expected to wrap up by the end of the year in Wicomico County. Also, a traffic light in Rehoboth Beach that was supposed to be up by Thanksgiving, it's still not there. This is on Holland Glade Road. And our Brandon Ferguson explains what's behind the delay.
The same cones, crosswalk, and lights still up on Holland Glade Road. DelDOT says the reason for the months of delays to avoid holiday shopping with the busy outlets right around the corner and the popular Christmas destination, Shellville, which is on Holland Glade Road.
Things come up, it's just what you have to learn to, deal with.
Bonnie Whalen drives on Coastal Highway every day and does not have a problem with the delay for now.
It's better than one season. That's just a nightmare getting backed up. It's backed up enough.
Some people tell us they deserved an answer sooner on the delay.
People deserve to know why it has taken so long.
DelDOT says work will resume here sometime this month, all depending on the weather. For the final result of another traffic light and more crosswalks and turning lanes heading to Coastal Highway.
That was Brandon Ferguson reporting there. Now, this work is expected to be done before summer 2026, according to DelDOT, but the original timeline had the work lasting only 2 months. And in Bethany Beach, a new crosswalk is planned for the northbound side of Route 1 at Garfield Parkway. It's currently in the final permitting stage with DelDOT. Bethany says the crosswalk should be done this summer. And there's more news ahead tonight. We have an update on the beached whale in Bethany Beach, the animal's cause of death, and what happens now.
The cold is already creeping in. We've already dropped by 17 degrees in some areas, and we're going to drop even more.
But first, train transportation on Delmarva. DelDOT wants your help determining the downstate demand for passenger trains. We'll be right back.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
A public survey is out to help determine if more passenger trains should connect to Delaware, including southern Delaware. Take a look. This is DelDOT already in the process of determining the feasibility of 2 potential passenger rail routes. Both of them would start in northern Delaware and then head south. And DelDOT officials say they want to continue exploring the overall expansion of the rail service. They're trying to determine if there's a demand and what would the logistics be. As Emma Aiken reports, DelDOT also wants your opinion.
These tracks could soon carry passengers. DelDOT wants to know if that's something the public would be interested in, so they've launched a survey to help gather input for the state's overall rail plan. DelDOT's curious if Delawareans like Jackie Rice would use a passenger train in the first state.
Certainly, because not everybody has a car like I do. And if they need to get away to get around, it's a little bit more accessible to them and not, half hour away, then that would, to me, would be great for all the people.
Currently, DelDOT is waiting for approval of Step 2 of their Diamond State Rail Line study, where 2 scenarios have been proposed, shown here, connecting northern Delaware to Maryland's eastern shore, with stops along the way like Dover, Milford, or Seaford. DelDOT says the idea started as a way to address the shortage of viable transportation options in the state. But the state says this would require a lot of land, including acquiring some private land, something Richard Persner thinks could be tricky.
I think it'd be a good idea, as long as it don't involve taking my house for the tracks.
All of this is still in the planning phase, but for now, DelDOT is asking for your train of thought.
Some of the questions on that survey ask about how frequently you use rail service and why you do or do not, and that survey is open until January 31st. We have it linked on CoastTV.com right now. And as Emma mentioned, the Diamond State Line, which is the map you saw with potential train routes, it's currently waiting for approval from the Federal Railroad Administration. The administration would need to approve the statement of work, the budget, and the schedule of the plan. That's before DelDOT can get more into what service would actually look like. Coming up next, Paul Williams is in our Coast TV First Alert Weather Center. He's got your full forecast right after this.
Last week was the week I said, hey, take it easy, kick it back out for yourselves, put on a tank top. This week I'm saying bundle up. Bundle all the way up. Twice by Thursday, okay? Because I'll show you why. In Rehoboth, 41 degrees right now, dropping back to 35, but the winds are howling right now, picking up momentum. We have some newly issued wind advisories and warnings, gale wind warnings in effect, actually. But we're at 41 degrees as far as the thermometer is concerned in Rehoboth, Indian River Inlet, Bethany Beach, Redden, Seaford, Gumbo, and Del Mar. Now, think about this. Still above the norm. I mean, 61 for the high today. 45 is the norm, but 73, that's the record. We're nowhere near the record low or anything like that. But that wind is making it feel so uncomfortable. Now, let's talk winds for right now. Gale wind warnings now in effect until 6 o'clock Monday morning for just about all the coastal portions of the entire Delmarva Peninsula. That means we're watching out for 40-mile-per-hour winds. And the winds were howling all day today. Temperature was up there in the 60s, but you didn't get a chance to enjoy it because it was so windy. And the winds coming out of the northwest, it was a dry, cold wind at that. So now we got to start talking about aches, okay? Now, our aches, we're going to be okay, as far as arthritis is concerned, till we get to Thursday, because that's when we have a low pressure system that's going to be in place for us, and that's when your aches and pains are going to be a little more pronounced, along with the cold, which is why I'm using this graphic today. Let's talk about it. First of all, for tomorrow, we're looking at 43 in Georgetown, more sunshine, 43 in Cambridge. Tomorrow's not a big deal, it's just not all that comfortable, and 43 in Snow Hill and Pocomoke City. But we have freeze potential, okay? We're going to be cold enough to see a freeze hit for us on Monday and Tuesday. We'll take a break Wednesday, Thursday, but then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, big time cold steps into the picture. You see, we start off near freezing Monday morning. Monday afternoon, we go back to the 40s, clear skies. Tuesday, we're back to near freezing again, and we bounce back into the 50s going into Tuesday. Now, last 31 days, we've had more days below norm than above the norm, and we're going to continue to add more to the below norm temperatures. And the winds right now, out of the west at about, 20 to 30 miles per hour going into Thursday and Friday. But Thursday and Friday is where everything turns over on its side in a major way, because we're watching out for a chance of snow. Typically, I don't jump on the snow bandwagon this quickly, but this is looking like a pretty sure thing, because we start off with the rain here Thursday in the afternoon. This pulls through, a low pressure system will be over us. It's going to drag cold air behind it. Everything's lining up beautifully and early and perfectly. Too perfectly. So that's why I got to make a call for snow, folks. So here we go. Here's what your 7-day forecast. A mixture of rain and snow, and it's going to be cold enough. It's going to be right on that edge, because we're going to have a high of 39 degrees.
All right, thanks again, Paul. And coming up after the break, we'll tell you about a public forum against offshore wind projects that's happening this week, how you can chime in. We're back now with an update on this young humpback whale that washed ashore near the Ocean Ridge community in Bethany Beach on Thursday. After working throughout the entire day Friday to perform a necropsy, Mayer determined the mammal had a broken jaw. Mayer says the type of blunt force trauma is often associated with a large ship strike, and the nature of the injuries showed that the whale was still alive when it was hit. The 32-foot whale is nicknamed Oil Change by his community in Cape Cod. He's now been buried beneath the sand. It's a common practice that's good for the ecosystem, according to Mayer. A public forum is scheduled for Monday, January 12th, about a proposed wind farm off the coast of Ocean City. It's very important to note the forum is being organized by opponents to the U.S. wind project. The forum begins at 5:30 at the Roland E. Powell Convention Center. We do have more on the forum right now on CoastTV.com. And there's more news ahead this evening. Coming up, new red light cameras in Salisbury and how you can avoid a $75 fine. A heads up for drivers in Salisbury. A handful of red light cameras began being active this past week. They're doling out $75 fines, and the cameras were installed on December 5th at what the city calls high-risk intersections off of routes 13 and 50. A warning period ended this week, meaning drivers who run the red lights will now pay the price for it.
I think it's a great idea, especially if it stops the people running the red lights and speeding.
Nobody wants to get a fine. So I think it will deter people. I think so, yeah.
A few of the cameras are located at the intersections of West College Avenue and Route 13, also Nanacoke Road and Route 50. Now we're looking live outside into Dover, and we've got one more check on your forecast right after this. Coming up this Tuesday, Millsboro Police are holding a Stuff the Cruiser food drive on January 13th. It's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Community members can fill a patrol car with non-perishable food items, and all of the donated items will be distributed to local food pantries.
In Ocean City right now, we're at 42 degrees, dew point temperature of 25, winds are at 19 miles per hour, and the winds have been a nuisance throughout the entire day. Now, we're going to drop back to 34 with mostly clear skies in Ocean City by 10 o'clock. Now, we're looking pretty clear right now. We had a couple of sprinkles that pushed through, but the winds are now the big deal with gale force wind warnings in effect over the entire coastal region of the Delmarva Peninsula. Call and catch up with your forecast with our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. 45 and sunshine on Monday, warming to 52 on Tuesday, Wednesday 55. Then the bottom drops out. And when I say drop, I mean dropped stone cold out. And we stay cold for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row.
Okay, thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 6. You can always find more news and local weather. Just download our Coast TV News app, and be sure to join us tonight after Sunday Night Football. Until then, have a great night.